Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to the home of original sports perspective from our couch to yours. This is the Couch Rider Raven. Welcome to the Couch Rider Report. I am Jermaine Lockett. This is my son Cameron. We here to celebrate because we just hit 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate y'all. Yeah! Thank you. We're here pumped. We're so excited. Thank you. Cannot thank you enough for the love that you have shown me as I've been on this YouTube channel. Other
than the people that I asked to subscribe.
Yeah. So yes, there was tons of people who helped me out big time, and I am very appreciative. Okay. Hopefully y'all are still here because we just lost connection for just a second because I have a son who likes to trip over stuff. So anyway,
I don't like to do it.
Yeah, sorry if you seeing things a little blurry right now, it's because this guy, he had managed to trip over our main connection and he don't know how to sit still. You make sure you walk around. Anyway, we are still excited even though we almost broke the whole set. We hit 1,000 and I wanted to make sure there was an opportunity to give back a bit because y'all mean so much to me. So of course, we got to pass the collection plate, of course. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. Because we still trying to go to 2K now. We just starting the road right there. We're at 1,004 subscribers. And but like I said, shout out to you. We made it there, and now I want to do something for you since y'all did this for me. But let me just make sure I say hello to y'all before we even get started here. So Dez Bryant said, "What's up? What's good, man?" And he's saying congrats, yeah, and then you saw the whole set crash, so it's good times. So yeah, like I said, there is an Ethernet cable hooked up right behind me, and this guy tripped over the dang thing instead of walking around, which we've talked about a few times. J. Roma said it looks good, and then starting the streams right, yeah, absolutely crashing the scene. That's kind of what happens when you got kids on the scene. It's good times. Anyway, back to y'all. Let me like I said, shout out. And then I wanted to tell you, like, hey, for those of you who are part of the notification gang, I want to pay you back. There's going to be a $50 card giveaway, but it's going to be a raffle. So it's going to be one person that's going to be lucky enough to get this $50 gift card. But you need to, screenshot your notification gang. Show me the bell that you are subscribed to my channel. Show me that proof. And send it to my Gmail. So my Gmail is right there on the screen there. I'll put you in a raffle, and we'll do the raffle live on Wednesday when we do the show with Camru. Because Camru that's my guy, that's my partner in crime right there. We'll do a live show, and we'll make sure we'll screen share, and I'll put all the names into the list that actually show me that they are part of the notification gang. That they smack the bell so they know when it's going down. And one of y'all will be a lucky winner of a $50 gift card. Like I said, it's just my way of saying thank you. I appreciate you. Much love to each one of you for coming through. Lisa, what's good? So it's the first thing, Rashod Bateman needs to do more. 2 is at TDs, more TDs. 2, he needs to be open. 3, no dropsies. I'm with you. I don't think he really has too many drops. This guy is really on point. I think he has shown a lot of promise. And so I'm very impressed with this guy. So just as Lisa said, we jumping right into it. So that's what I wanted to get in today because I was looking at some tape. I was excited about it. And honestly, I was just like, hey, maybe I should just, see what's going on with Rashod and see what 3 things that we need him to do in order to be that guy this year. Because I did put on my Twitter the possibility of signing Davante Adams and what that looks like for the Baltimore Ravens and how much it would cost and honestly the attributes, what he brings to the team, all of that. I put that on my Twitter and one of my feeds, but it was just simply spitballing a way to be able to afford Davante Adams. Just talking about like, hey, getting rid of AV, getting rid of Tavon, signing Lamar to a multi-year deal, but putting a lot of that money on the back burner was one of those ideas. Excuse me. So let's see here. Let's talk about it. Let's see what the comments are before I jump right in. So Bless says, did you hear Lamar Jackson contract is worth it's going to be worth $40 million or more? So Jamison Hensley already knew that. I think he was just kind of grasping some straws. That's my dude. But at the same time, like we knew already that contract was going to be plus 40 million. Anybody yapping on Facebook or any other social media talking about that was going to be less than that, they lost their mind because Lamar Jackson is the next in line. And as that escalator continues to go, those agents are banging on the table saying, hey, you paid Pat Mahomes this. Hey, Josh Allen got paid $43 million. My guy's the next one in line. So we know that number is in between anywhere from 42 to 47 million. Y'all heard it here. In between 42 and 47 million per year is what's going to be the average for Lamar Jackson. He's not getting Deshaun Watson money. He's getting more. He's not getting Prescott money. He's getting more. Anybody thinking he's getting 32, y'all at your mind. That man finna get paid. Generational wealth, like you said, but even if it's $32 million, it's still generational wealth because if I get 32 million, this man he getting paid. He's gonna be living good, right? Yes, indeed. All right, so let's see. Will says, right? So yeah, pay him that. He deserves it because when you think about it, if they try to skim off a little bit, they try to skim like maybe $5 million a year off the contract. That's one player. That's just one extra player that maybe even not like a key piece because that's like, it's just one of those key pieces that you add to the team. That's the only thing you're missing by not paying this man his bag.
You guys are commenting too fast.
I like the pace, man. Sure.
Every time he reads a comment, and two more pop up while he's reading it. So
this is good. This is a good thing. We got to have the comments, man. Trust me, there's a plus side to that. You'll see that. You'll see it in a little while. So anyway, it says pay that man. LJ needs a long-term contract like Mandrews. I'm with you. And then it says feels like they're trying to hold out to see if they can get a solid line again, like line going. Excuse me. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna have to probably come back to these here in just a second. Like the current Ravens receivers, just spread the ball around. All right, so let me get to my topic here, and then we'll jump back into a couple more comments here. But let me go with milestones. I got 3 different milestones I want to talk about to make him that dude, the respectable number 1 wide receiver that we see around all the NFL teams. They got their guy. And while Hollywood is a magnificent wide receiver, sometimes he leaves leaves those hands, leaves them at home, and they don't show up at the game or he drops his clutch things. This dude's been working hard, and he is still one of the best wide receivers that Baltimore has ever had. So we got to give him that type of love because him and LJ, they do have that connection. They're picking up that 5th-year option, so they're looking at $13 million. The EDC said it's kind of a bargain based on what's out there already. He likes Hollywood's heart. He likes his mentality. He comes to the table, like that. I call him B-roll, joke around. I still think, this is still one of the better wide receivers that Baltimore has ever drafted. And I'm talking about the only other person that Baltimore drafted that was a hit was Torrey Smith. So Hollywood and Torrey Smith, and they both are pretty decent ballers.
Why is one of the example players did they do well?
Anyway. They do. Just all right, anyway, moving into it. Milestone number 1. You got to have a guy with multiple 100-yard games. So, of course, I went to go look up the stats for his college life. Like, in his final year in college, he only had 3 100 games. But how many games did he play? 5. He played 5 total games in 2020, and that's when he switched to that number 0. So, in 2019 and 2018, so I guess we'll start with 18. In 2018, he had 2 100-yard games. And then in 2019, he had 5 100-yard games. So a total of 10 in college. The ability is there. Everything that I love about this guy. I mean, I had to write some notes down as I was watching all the things that he was able to do. There's also a video. If you go back and take a look at at my previous YouTube, and I was comparing him to Julio Jones.
So shut up, Wink.
Go around. Sorry. All right. Some of the notes that I had also looking at it, but yeah, go back and take a look at the video where I was comparing him to Julio Jones. I was saying, hey, he's successful on screens. He does a lot of yards after the catch. He runs through his tackles. People that are trying to tackle him, he's running through those. He likes the physicality downfield. As far as the RPO slant, when you go look at this tape when he was in Minnesota, it was bread and butter between him and his quarterback. It was just amazing to see they really did well when it came to the RPO slant coming from the slot. I mean, and that could translate pretty well to here as long as as long as Lamar doesn't have that favoritism continually to to the other two guys, to Andrews and to Hollywood. If they get an RPO slant going with Rashod on a regular, which we saw a little bit of, we didn't see too much of, but we saw enough. We saw the touchdown from Josh Johnson. That looked pretty good on the slant, right? Imagine that coming out of RPO. So, and then, of course, there's just opportunities to just throw up 50-50 balls. You've seen it in the Cleveland game when he embarrassed Greedy Williams. That was just nice. I need to be able to see him as the X in trips a little bit more. And like I said, one-on-one matchups, he's that dude. And also, he can tear his zone apart. Y'all saw that with, I want to say, with Cincinnati. He was tearing his zone apart. And then also with Minnesota. He was really good against the zone. Let me pause for a second. Let's go back to a couple of the comments here. So Lisa said, "Hey Frank, hey Cameron. Cameron will be back in just a second. He's dealing with the angry." I say, "Hey, angry cat. This cat's just she wants outside, but it's cold outside." So, and then you open the door, and then she curves the door. Anyway, let's move forward. Abdi said, "What's good? What's happening, man? What's happening with you, Hollywood Brown?" He was ball in this year. Okay, sorry, my contacts are out. You might see me a little squinting a little bit, but I definitely see it here. Let's see. Bless Brian. This season we taking over, no doubt. I think there's opportunities there if we get if we get a healthy crew this year and able to sign back some of the players that we had this previous season. Anything can happen. Sky's the limit because with the healthy line, Lamar making better decisions in the pocket. And honestly, I think they're going to look back at the tape and see, hey, that there were some things that he needs to clean up decision wise. But for the most part, I mean, you saw this guy balling. That Cameron is back, so I'll go ahead and show this comment. Lisa says, "Hey, Cameron."
Hi.
All right, so here we are. So bless Brian, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be taking over this year. Feel like I'm the Cowboy. Feel like we're the Cowboys. It's our year. How about them? How about the Ravens? Anyway, getting all hype. But he's saying Bateman, he is not a game changer. I disagree. I think he can be, and I think it's going to take deliberate plays to get this guy in position to make things happen. Like I said, go look back at the video I did. It was a comparison between Julio Jones and Rashod Bateman, and he has some of those tendencies to be great. He has it there. It's like some people don't have that monster factor, but when you go back and look at the Cleveland game, and when you go look back at his college tape, you can see this guy has the tendency to be a full-on Justin Jefferson type character. Let's see. Oh, you bring up a pretty good question here. What formula is Mike McDonald bringing from Michigan? So the thing is he was here already. He was working with the linebackers, and that's why Rob Ryan is gone, because he didn't want to have to work with the young buck. But I think they still stick with the 3-4, even though McDonald was working with the 4-3 and interchange and he was doing some really weird things. When I was looking at the tape on him, you'd see two defensive ends. You'd see outside linebackers actually standing up. And then you kind of see I want to say a nickel. It would look really weird because it only looked like one middle linebacker back there. And then the rest were DBs with only 4 men up front. So I don't know if Baltimore is going to incorporate any of that or if he's got his own. If they have a different plan they're going to roll out. I imagine it still stays aggressive. It still stays in the 3-4 because we love our outside linebackers and we love, having them do their thing. We don't like having defensive ends constantly on the line like that. We like to have our rush outside linebacker. That's how Baltimore's been successful. However, in other organizations, the people that leave us end up going to different type of defensive schemes like Judon and like Ngakoue. They were successful because it was a different scheme. So maybe Baltimore switches things up because Aiden Hutchinson and Ajobo, they were successful in Michigan with the scheme that McDonald ran. So hopefully Baltimore was able to take advantage of his mind and figure out something different that we can scare the heck out of offenses with coming forward. All right. So Son B, he's a game. No, he is not. He is a locker room terrorist. I'm gonna tell you straight up. He is not a game changer. This dude ain't gonna do nothing but be a headache over there. And you got to think about it. Look, EDC has already said that this dude he's just not the dude. He's not what Baltimore is looking for. He explained how the depth chart works. and continuing to sign a veteran like him is not going to develop the other players that are in the organization. So right now they're trying to develop Rashod Bateman into being that monster that you want him to be. But you can't do that if you sign a crazy man who's going to tear the entire roster down and pretty much act like some of the, I mean, I'll be honest, some of the crazy Baltimore folks that were burning down CVS pharmacies, he'd probably be right there right along with them, cutting things up. I'm just saying. Dude, you're going to be like that? You got to leave. Go. Okay. Swear. Y'all going to see me live, straight up go nuts on this kid. He just does not understand how an internet connection that is landline works. All right. So anyway, so forget about Antonio Brown. Absolutely. Forget about him coming to the Ravens. We got one Brown, and that is enough. That is all we need. And so it's, I mean, y'all can fight about it all you want. This dude is not coming to town. Eric DeCosta is very, very clear that AB is not that dude for this organization. He can't just come out and say it because he just don't want to talk about other players. But he's like, no, I have a certain type of player that he wants here, and that's not it. That's not the dude. I don't care if Lamar wants him or not. It's just not happening. Don't need him. Don't need him. Y'all seen the post. Prochet working. Y'all seen it? Running up the hill, doing this thing, working hard, grinding. He's got a great personality, and he can work it from the slot if he's given the shot. Y'all seen him against Denver. That is just something, a sample size of what he's able to do if we're able to consistently get him the ball in the slot. Don't sign on new vets. We got guys who are hungry looking for opportunities. Sorry about Boykin. Maybe he's gone because that saves about $2 million on the cap. So that's a money decision plus the talent. It's talent and money decision, whatever. But you just don't want to waste the extra money and signing some veteran, especially when he's a media headache. All right, Big Reg, what's good, man? He says, that one Brown, we got better. So that one Brown, we got better. Get his stuff together. What's good, everybody? Sorry, I'm having trouble reading today. Appreciate you coming through, man. Yeah, but the one we got is straight. So Ray Lewis is okay to play football one day. And now you want to bring up stuff, old school stuff. First of all, that was on an entirely different owner, different era, everything else going on. Second, it was not murder. It was not murder. It was obstruction of justice. And if you go look back at everything, yes, it did look kind of incriminating, but it was just Ray Lewis not wanting to give up his homies. And then finally, he had a mentor tell him like, hey, man, I know you're trying to be for the streets or whatever and not give up the homies, whatever, but you need to recognize that you have a future. And I'm pretty sure that you need to be able to maintain for your family and everything else. And this is just ending it, trying to protect the boys. Give up the information. So, yes, Ray gave up the information. And then because they didn't get the big fish they wanted at the DA, they threw the whole case out. That's how things usually go down when they don't get the big fish that they want because they were trying to pin it all on Ray because he was being hushed. So he did not commit murder. All right. So anyway, these kids out here, they deserve a chance. Yes, the young bucks do. Let me get back to business. So we were talking about being able to have multiple 100-yard gains. You got to be able to put them together. You got all these other star caliber wide receivers. They able to just stack. You see the fantasy stats. They come out there. You're like, hey, I know who I want. I want my Jamar Chase. I want my Justin Jefferson. I want my Deebo Samuel. We don't have those guys yet, but they could develop into such. Y'all see the way that Devin Duvernay plays. He's a pretty much a smaller version of Deebo Samuel, and we can use him in multiple ways, not just on this jet sweep. Hang on. Here's something. Big Red says Boykin got all the skill we need. He just needs the playing time and the targets. I'll be honest with you. They not targeting him, and I don't think they plan to, man. He's just not part of the game plan, and it sucks because I think the guy has a decent amount of talent as well. But when you ain't out there getting targeted, ain't nothing you can do. Now, there have been times when I was looking at the tape for the Miami game. Rashod Bateman, let me go back to my notes here. This man didn't get targeted until probably 5 minutes left in the game. 5 minutes left in the game, that's when he started to heat up. So he was targeted, I think, once in the first half, and he had one catch for 7 yards. And it was just basically a little bit after the play, a little dance around, but he was facing against Byron Jones during that game. So he created a little buffer, some separation right there, and then he was working he got his work in at the 5-minute and 31-second mark in the fourth, doing a lot of out routes. Y'all saw that, and then he saw him pull up a big catch that was like a 35-yard pass. Went from the 33 to the 32-yard line. He was doing things like that. In the 48-second mark, Lamar kind of missed him because it was like back of the end zone. Bateman was wide open. And I think what happened with Giro saw that and said, hey, look, we need to go to something like that again because you just missed him and he was wide open in the back of the end zone. Well, Lamar tried to roll out and hit him again, and that's when that pick came through. But what you do notice is when they change things up and let Rashod take the load after that 5 minute and 31-second mark, he was balling. Before, it was all favoritism between Mandrews and Hollywood, and they just weren't getting it done off the screen passes. Mandrews was still getting his across the middle, early on in the game, and then they started to figure that out. And then, of course, the pass to Sammy Watkins, that would have been great if he had just held on to the ball. That zero blitz with those guys sitting about, I say, 10 to 15 yards back. It was really working, and I think Baltimore figured it out. It's just a little bit too little, too late because. But the thing you need to recognize is Rashod Bateman would have been the answer had they gone to him earlier in the game. Let's see a comment here. So Miles Boykin needs to be patient to get some catches. I think Miles Boykin is probably going to have to be patient on another team. They said so. If you look at his cap number, it escalated till it got to a point of I think it's $2.2 million. I think I have notes on that as well as far as members that could have been cuts for that. I think it's just on my Twitter. I think I just typed it in instead. But he's just going to be a cap casualty because they need to save that cap. If they cut Alejandro Villanueva, if they cut Tavon Young, I'm sorry, this is going to happen as well. That's a pretty decent savings. I think it's about $6 million. I think it's $6 million. So you figure you're looking at, after it's all said and done, the cap number could be around $23 million if they cut these guys and sign back some of the reserve players that they were looking to sign that were cheaper deals. They could have close to 21 or $23 million. And honestly, I know we're hurting for corner, but slot corner is something that I think that can be, you can move our guy. We're going to move All-Pro Marlowe back to the slot. It looks like Eric DeCosta is trying to look at a way to sign AA, but I don't know if that's going to happen. He might be just a little bit too expensive. So we just don't know on that one. All right, Big Reg, you said, so that's a Lamar problem. He needs to stop putting his friends on and start playing ball to win. Well, you know how it is. Like they hang out at gas stations together. Then you go ahead and invite Rashod to the gas station. They got to go hang out together. And, they were doing it last season a little bit, hanging out in Arizona. They all hung out. That was cool. But, I think they need to have just a little bit more chemistry with each other, something like how Huntley has with them right now. Abby says, should the Baltimore Ravens draft Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame? Look, if it falls to them and they ain't got to move up for him, cool. They need to look at these picks. Right now, they said they got 9 in the first 4 rounds. This is an opportunity to say, hey, we need this guy. If they got to move up to like a couple slots to number 12, like 2 slots up, and they got to give up a late round pick or something like that to swap those spots, cool. But if they got to go give up a buttload to get Kyle Hamilton, I don't know if Eric DeCosta wants to take those gambling chances like that. You know how he likes to play it safe. He's already said it. Like, hey, I like to make smart decisions that are not going to hurt us in the long run for a short term. And maybe that's not the way to go. Maybe it is. But that he's running the show. We just kind of sit back watching. For those of you that are here, I appreciate you. Like I said, let me just go ahead and bring this back up because some of y'all came in a little bit late. But if you are part of the Noti gang, and I am very excited because y'all got to help me get me to 1,004 subs. But if you are part of the Noti gang, do me a favor. Just go ahead and email proof that you are part of the notification squad, which means you smack the bell that's down there. And I'll put your name in for a $50 gift card giveaway. We will do the live giveaway on my next show on Wednesday with Cam Rue. So y'all just got to be aware of that. So thanks, like I said, thanks for coming through. Appreciate y'all getting me to 1,000. Let's keep the party going. The number two thing that Rashod Bateman needs to work on is clutch game-winning touchdown. In order to he needs to hit that milestone of, hey, we need to get that walk-off touchdown. Now, I went back and looked at some college tape on him. He's got that ability. Against Indiana, I think score was 31-31. It was a minute and 34 seconds left. The quarterback drops back, drops a nice bomb. I think it was 67 yards. 67 yards, excuse me, to get to the end zone. Touchdown. Defense held. He basically, Rashod Bateman basically won the game for his Gophers. He has I'm telling you, he's got the wide receiver personality. He's got that diva mentality. I don't know if y'all follow him on Instagram. This dude has a wide receiver's mentality. And it's not too much. It's not too overbearing like some people that we won't mention that you've already mentioned a couple of times. I think it was Big Reg saying, or it was Big Reg or Abdi saying that we need AB now. We don't need him. We already got this dude. He's going to be that diva that we need. All right, here we go. Then there is the clutch winning. So I said clutch winning, game winning touchdowns. We need to be able to walk off of some of those, or if we can have some blowouts, that'd be nice, kind of how we did in 2019. But the third factor, like I said, I'm not going to keep y'all here long today because I just want to get to all three. Wins against top DBs. So I wanted to look at some tape and see what the research was on who he faced in 2021. So as far as wins against top DBs, so you look at some of the stats that he had and some of his highest targeted games. So, okay, of course, against the Rams, he was targeted about 10 times. The Cleveland Browns, he was 8 times against Miami, 8 times against Minnesota, 6 times against Cincinnati, 6 times against Los Angeles, and then the rest is 5 and below. But the games that he had with Lamar were, of course, because I'm hoping that chemistry continues to build. The game against Miami, that was 8 times. But like I said, it wasn't until later on in the game that he actually started to get that work. But during the Minnesota game, he was a big part of the comeback because he was targeted 8 times against Minnesota, and he was taking on Cameron Dantzler, who is a PFF grade of about 70 in coverage. So that's pretty solid. When you look at his overall, Cameron Dantzler was a pretty solid corner. And you have Rashod Breeland, who was a little bit trash, and that's kind of where Hollywood was getting his money from over there. But let's see. He had a circus catch to bail out Lamar when out of trouble. Y'all saw that circus catch as Lamar was rolling over to the right, and then Rashod Bateman ended up getting the big catch there. He had 0 separation on one of his catches that was like dead center in the middle of the field. I mean, I don't know how Lamar threaded the needle on that one, but there was 0 separation. He basically threw it in between 2 defenders, and one was on him like paint. It was crazy. And then Lamar actually missed Bateman on a flea flicker. It was a deep shot, but you've seen this guy climb the ladder. That is something that, most wide receivers, it takes a lot of confidence to do because you don't know exactly where you're going to land. Sometimes you get a little scared because of the injuries that could happen by going up so high and getting slammed down by the corner or actually landing on somebody's foot or whatever. But he's fearless. He's fearless. He climbs the ladder. That is Rashod Bateman for you. He is aggressive. I think they had an amazing pick, and I think Marlon Humphrey got it right when he went to ADC and said, hey, I think you got a good one here. You got a good one here. You got a real one. And said, like I said, he faced off against both Breeland and Dantzler. They did run some zone, and Lamar was able to pick that apart because Lamar is about the middle of the field, and Rashod Bateman was doing his thing across the middle of the field. So go Batman against Minnesota. He did pretty well. So there was another game I wanted to look at so we talked about the Miami game, we talked about the Minnesota game, and then there was the Cincinnati game. Of course, both were beat downs, but there was one from Lamar where he had six receptions, and that was against Hinton and Apple, and it was mostly zone, but he had 6 targets for 3 catches and 80 yards, and one of those receptions was a 35-yard reception. I think there was also a pass interference penalty down there that helped him out as well. So you gotta look at it like, hey, he's facing off against some decent corners. I mean, Apple, he got dragged all over Twitter, but this guy also made a big play to help stop Tyreek in the AFC Championship game. So, Apple is he's a decent corner. He's not great, but Hinton is pretty good. So we do look at it. He had 6 targets, 3 catches, 80 yards. And I was like, cool, that's great. So we talked about him, going against Minnesota. We talked about Cincinnati. We talked about I didn't talk about the Chargers game. The Chargers game was a pretty good one because he was still on his first down streak against the Chargers. I think that was when it started. He was doing this thing. Let me pause on my comments so I can hear some of yours. Let's see. Yeah, Art Modell owned the Ravens before Steve Bisciotti. Yeah, he sold it to him a while back. And I think Steve's still on that Forbes list for I think he's in the top 40 richest people in the world. It's pretty cool. All right, Clint, what's going on? Clint, the American Stallion Ganaway. Okay, with T. Martin looking likely to return next year, can these receivers make the leap we need in route running as well as scramble drills where guys aren't overlapping areas? That is something I did recognize on the tape, and I think Harbaugh spoke to that. He kind of threw the receivers under a bus a bit. It was kind of telling the truth. You could see some of the same routes. They were hanging out in the same space. So if you saw a comeback, you also saw an out route that kind of put them in the same area, and Lamar's throwing right into one of those areas where both of them could have caught the ball. But, of course, you got receivers going into the same area. DBs are going into that same area as well. There was a few instances in that Minnesota game as to where I saw that, and I was just like, wow, they were telling the truth, that some of these players were in the same spots thanks to Giro. Now, it was like 1 or 2 games, and I think they started to figure those things out. Whoever made up the Miami tape, please go watch the All 22. They didn't make a tape; they just made pictures and put them on Instagram. Please, go look at the All 22 from the main All 22 guy on YouTube. He's got a new channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to that. He's able to break it down in such a way where he took all those photos that were taken on Instagram and made sure he broke it down to let them know, hey, there were opportunities to throw. They were just crossing concepts, and yes, it looks like everybody was covered at that particular second, but just a second later, you can see, hey, there was an opportunity for Lamar to roll out and be able to pass that ball. There were pockets down the field that were open, and Giro is not as bad as y'all think he is. Y'all just choosing to drag him because one person dragged him on ESPN or something along those lines, and now everybody's on board. He's not a bad offensive coordinator. He is getting things done. It takes a team of help with, like you said, T. Martin, with Keith Williams. They are going to get together in year 2 and have passing concepts that are going to be phenomenal. And Giro's going to be a part of that because RPO is a big piece of that. You got to have it. And for people that are saying hey, Lamar never ran RPO in Louisville, go look at the tape and go look at the articles. The articles clearly say that the coach adjusted his game plan to what Lamar does best. Did he run some spread? Yeah. But he also ran RPO. He ran read option and was very successful with those things. That's how you put up those numbers because it was a mix of all of that. And we're hoping to see a mix of that this year. All right, let's see. But anyway, welcome, Clint. Thank you. Let's see. If top O-line not there at 14, we take Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati or Treylon Burks, wide receiver, Arkansas. We don't need a wide receiver, man. Look, we don't. It's not a problem. It's not an issue, a need in this particular draft. We can actually go into the first round of the NFL draft and say, we good on wide receiver. So I agree. It can be an offensive lineman. It could be a corner. It could be a safety. Those are the things that we could circle around hey, this is what we need. This is the best player available based on what we need there. I think I am excited about that. And then, of course, the Christian Harris happens to be on the clock. Poof, let's go. Alabama Christian Harris. Go look the tape up on that. That boy a thumper. All right, let's see. Drake London, another wide receiver prospect, maybe there. 6'5", 210, runs a 4.4. I'm telling you, I promise you right now, you heard it from me first. Baltimore will not go wide receiver first round this year's draft. I guarantee it. 100%. It's not going to happen. Will it happen later on in the rounds? Sure. But I'm telling you right now, based on the guys that they believe in, this is 2 years straight, I'm telling you the ADC believes in his picks. He made sure, he actually got very offended in the press conference that people were still talking about wide receiver because he felt that he brought something that can develop into something great. He believes in these guys, and so he's not going to go drafting a wide receiver. And then Big Reg says, if he was that great of an OC, then we would need help to make a game. No, that's the thing, man. You got to remember, the word team, it stands for together. Everyone achieves more. It is not ever going to be one person that is the main success of an entire offense. It takes the player, It takes all those different position coaches having a voice in the room, and it takes a pass game coordinator to operate alongside the offensive coordinator. And you have to have a good round. You have a run game coordinator. You have an O-line coordinator. All these minds get into a room. They have a war room where they game plan each week, and they're bringing different ideas up. This ain't G-Ro by himself. It's not going to be G-Ro by himself succeeding. It's not going to be G-Ro by himself failing. Harbaugh has a way that he wants to run things also. His mind is in there also. They have all these position coaches for a reason. People are learning. People are bringing different things to the table. And look, we know G-Ro, maybe he doesn't excel in the passing concepts, but that is why those other two guys are there. They are there to help, not to hurt, not to just be there to take the job. They're there to help him look good and to help the team look good. Wins and losses, not on one person, not on one coach, on the team. All right, here we go. Let's move on. So Brian Flores said he won't settle out of court. What you take? Well, I think there is a change coming, and Brian Flores is a big piece of that. And I am thankful that he stood up to make this stand and actually put these owners on notice, saying, "Hey, you know what's going on? It ain't right. Something don't smell right when you don't take these interviews seriously. When you show up drunk to an interview, and y'all see my meme, I put it all over Instagram, and I think I put it on Twitter about, you know, it had John Hamm over here drinking, saying, yeah, I took him seriously. But it that's how it really looks. Like, hey, you're not taking, you know, players or coaches seriously that are trying to get an interview for these positions, and they're taking the Rooney Rule and making a mockery of it. So I think there has to be done. Change has to happen. It has to be diversity needs to be pushed into the NFL. And honestly, I think there's a doorway open for it right now. And that doorway is because Dan Snyder, you know, I don't have the gavel. I can't say if he's guilty or not, but it looks like even with the name change, there's still dirt in that organization. And I don't know if y'all saw the Gridiron Heights video, but that was pretty funny, talking about how they just slapped a new name on it, that there's still garbage behind the wall. But when you look at Dan Snyder, he's not the model for his organization right now, or it's not appearing that way. And he might have to sell the team. But this is where minorities get an opportunity to put their foot in the door. If he has to sell it, maybe the NFL steps in and says, hey, let's get an opportunity to sell it to a minority, whether it be Mexican, whether it be black, whether it be a female. Something along the lines, make the diversity element stand up to where we have a diverse owner in the table, at the table, to actually own these teams and make decisions. And then maybe they can make a change with the coaching or general managers and all those things. But I think it starts with the Washington Commanders. You know, somebody call P. Diddy up and say, hey, man, go get you a team. You know, somebody call Jay-Z up and say, hey, look, I know, you know, you down with the Nets and all that, and you got your own agent company, but I think it's time to own a team. This is where these people show up. Like, hey, you know what? So somebody call Juan Martinez and say, hey, look, man, you know, it's time to own the team. You know, come over here and get it. Give these people opportunities. And I guarantee you change will come to the NFL because of this one thing. So it might be a good thing that he actually was, you know, or accused of sexually assaulting the former cheerleader and PR representative, which is kind of weird. PR representative releases the new name of the team. And, oh, by the way, yeah, Dan Snyder felt me up. Just saying. I think she wanted to make sure that they still had that black eye and didn't forget things. But whether it happened to her or not, I definitely think that she wanted to make sure that everybody remembered that these things may or may not have happened. So O-line, top priority. I agree, Lisa. Protect the quarterback. If Lamar has a helmet in his chest, then he can't throw the ball. Plain and simple. B-Reg says he got offended last year and still drafted Bateman. Well, we knew he was going into the draft saying, you know, like, hey, he's looking for a wide receiver. But I think he just has faith in his guys. He just didn't have, I'll be honest, I don't think he had as much faith in Boykin. But I think he saw an opportunity there. I think if Bateman had been off the clock earlier, I don't think Baltimore drafts a wide receiver in the first round. That's just my thoughts. That's my thoughts. I don't think they would have drafted a wide receiver in the first round if Bateman was gone. Like, I think he honestly was like, I know who my guys are, who I want and who I don't want. And I think Bateman was really on his mind and said, hey, you know what? He's there. We got to pull the trigger. We got to. All right. So let's see. Back to what I was saying was the Milestones winning against top DBs. Like I said, when Bateman faced off against the Los Angeles Chargers, he faced off against Chris Harris and the other one there, number 43, Davis. I think Chris Harris is still a stellar top-tier corner in the league, pretty exceptional, but he still had 6 targets, 4 catches for 29 yards, but I believe all of those were first downs. So go back and look at the tape on that. He was facing off. There was some zone, there was some man, it was a mix of both, but you saw Bateman making things happen. Now, there were, like, based on the tape what I was looking at, he may have caused 2 interceptions. One, because the chemistry between him and Lamar were off, and I think Lamar threw one behind him, and that caused the pick, and then he tipped one. It was a drop pass, and because the pass was tipped or dropped, I think it caused an interception as well. That was his debut. But then you saw him, he was able to pull it together, like, later on. So, of course, he goes after, I think his game where he really lit it up was the 10 receptions or 10 targets against the Los Angeles Rams, and also the game against the Cleveland Browns. So you're seeing him getting targeted more and more. He's turning into more of the game plan. And then when he's against Cleveland, he faced off against Greg Newsome, and he faced off against he really fully mossed Greedy Williams. And, you know, people have been bragging about Greedy for years, but they also know he's a burn victim. So when it comes to facing top DBs, I think he has that ability. He's going to be able to step up and say, hey, I can get it done. I can face off against the number 1 and be just fine. I just want them to see the X, because when Lamar comes out and you can see he's facing off against one side of the field. And I remember Tony Romo used to do this a lot. We already knew once he come out the huddle, he was going to the person on his right side constantly. When he looked upfield, he was looking for one person. Very seldom did you see him go to his back shoulder and try to hit the X. And that's kind of what, you know, Dez was like, hey, look, where's my money? How come I'm not getting hit? And then when he go back to the backside, I think the chemistry was off, and you see Tony start throwing picks because, like, all of a sudden they're expecting to do a comeback route, and this person's going upfield. And so, of course, Tony's throwing the comeback route while the players upfield, and the DB's like, oh, I understood it. I understood the assignment. And here, there's a nice pick 6 right here. Go back and watch the Chicago Bears game. Tony Romo versus Chicago Bears. Any of them. And you'll see what I'm talking about. So let's see. Big Reg says, I just hope they don't take a linebacker or D-line with the top pick. It's got to be O-line, DB, or wide receiver. Now, this is that big boy from who was the big boy from Georgia, number 99. Ooh, I think I had notes on him too. I was told to look at him up. I don't have that one. Thought I did. Okay. I'll have the notes. I'll do some homework, and by Wednesday, you will see that I have a couple more notes on some guys. Of course, we plan on going player by player, talking about attributes and all that stuff. I like to, of course, I like to do my tape or my film study, and then I'll come back with a full, strong, top 5 players at every position. We'll be doing that during the offseason, whether it be myself or whether I do it with Cam Rue, or maybe I'll bring T. Huddy on. I just love bringing in people that we can just chat it up with, have a good time. Let's see. And so I think the last thing I wanted to discuss was, like I said, the Rams game he was pretty good in. I think the Cleveland game is where he really just lit it up when he had that 100-plus yard game. I think he was just taking advantage of the scenario there, and I think the offense did it. Offensive coordinator and his team took advantage of the matchups there, and they were able to succeed against the Cleveland Browns in the air, thanks to Rashod Bateman and his ability there. All right, here we go. What you got, B-Reg? So, yeah, he's huge, but I don't think we need another guy to clog the middle. We need interior rush more than a clogger. Well, I mean, those cloggers, they set it up very nicely for those middle linebackers. Sometimes, you got to think about how Oline was for Ray Lewis, how Suragusa was for Ray Lewis. Those power pigs, when you got them on the line, it makes things a lot easier. And those middle linebackers, they start taking charge. They start smacking the butt, saying, "Hey, move over here, move over here." and it just makes those rushing lanes clear as all get out to where it's just going to be one man versus another man in the hole because fat man on the sides, they help out so much more. But if they don't go defensive interior, I wouldn't be mad. They went with what your options were. I would totally be all over that as well. All right, Clint. Like I said, Clint, man, appreciate you coming through, man. I think it's your first time here, but make sure y'all hitting the like button. If I got 9 people in the room, let me get 9 likes about you, please. And if you're looking for some other way to support the channel, you want to buy me another soda or something like I said, you want to buy me a soda, cool, it's whatever. The Cash App is down there at the bottom. It would be the last thing you see right there. So if you go ahead and take a look at that, if you want to support the channel, please do that. Just go ahead and hit Couch Raven up on Cash App. Let's see. Anyway, it's back to Clint. Thanks for coming. If some top elite talent gets within striking distance where we only need to trade like a couple 4th rounds up to 8 and get Thibodeau or other edge. I don't know, man. I hadn't seen the Ravens trade up since Joe Flacco. It's not their style, man. They don't like to do the trade up in the first round. They don't do it. I think an opportunity to get Dez Bryant was there. It was there when he first came out, and Baltimore didn't do it. They let the Cowboys sneak right up in front of us, and they got the pick. And of course, we got so ticked, we traded out. And because there was a defensive tackle I thought Baltimore was going to get, and they didn't get him, they traded out, and that pick became Tim Tebow. Baltimore doesn't like to trade up. They like to collect lottery tickets, like to collect those picks, man. Let's see. Lisa says, Jay Novacek was Tony Romo's favorite target. Yeah, good times, right? All right, so let's see. Nato was a rusher too, but we need to get more pressure with less so we can drop back and play coverage rather than having to send our DBs and LBs to get sacks. But if you get that big old boy that I saw that Joe did, that number 99, he's going to push that pocket. And if he's pushing the pocket, it is just as good. It may not like create the sack numbers. We're talking like an Aaron Donald or something like that. But pushing that pocket makes those quarterbacks extremely uncomfortable. And if you got the pocket being pushed and you got the outside linebackers running the arc, havoc will be wreaked. And I believe the defensive tackles will handle business. So if Baltimore decided to go defensive tackle and get that big boy right there from Georgia, I'd be pumped. All right, so Dallas ended up on Dez Bryant before we could get him. Yeah, they jumped us. It was crazy. I thought for sure he was coming to Baltimore. I think even Dez felt like, hey, Baltimore's going to be there for me. And then, of course, he ended up going to Dallas. He was pretty excited about it, don't get me wrong. But I think he was like accepting the fact that he was getting slid to Baltimore. And then all of a sudden the Dallas Cowboys came up in there and got him. It was a kind of a heartbreaking first round because, I mean, as you sit back there and you're sitting at the 22 or whatever, 26 overall pick, you kind of just you're like waiting because you're seeing all this money go off the clock constantly. I mean, even the night Lamar Jackson was drafted, I was there. I'm in the stadium. I'm like, all right, we at 16. You know what? Who knows what's going to happen? Actually, I wasn't even sure if I wanted Lamar Jackson. I didn't know what we wanted at the time because it was like the Saints was on the clock. And it sounded like everybody, all the announcers kept saying, yo, Lamar's going to the Saints. And then all of a sudden, Baltimore trades out. And I'm like, man, we got to wait even longer. I'm trying to go home. I got to work in the morning. And then we trade back again. And then we get Hayden Hurst. And I'm like, that's it. I'm out. So I rolled out. But as soon as we got to the parking lot, we got to the interstate, it was like the radio was on. We saw the trade come in. But yeah, as you sit back in those later rounds, as hard as I'll get out to like have that patience, because you start seeing like all these top tier players you think of that you've done all your study on, and they leave the board. Like, oh man, Baltimore could have had this. Oh, Baltimore could have had Calvin Ridley. Oh, Joe would have loved Calvin Ridley. And it didn't happen. All right. Big Reg says, I didn't see him push the pocket much in college. He ate up space and blockers, but wasn't really putting guys into the QB lap the way he should at that size. Well, I mean, yeah, you never know. At this level, it might be a little bit tougher, you're right. And in college, if you ain't getting it done there, I've seen people that have dominated in college, but once it got to the bigger guys, they weren't able to succeed. So I can agree with that because, I mean, look at Cleveland right now. I'm talking about Ben Cleveland. He's very big. He's 6'6", But, I don't know if he had his squirrel juice with him or not, but you saw him get owned with that size and wasn't able to hold it down at that size. I thought for sure that they just moved him out to the tackle because, at that size right there, you think he'd be solid. But I think he just needs another year of development. He'll be okay. Like I said, year 2 sometimes is a make or break type year. But back to the wins against the DBs. I think that was all I had as far as we had. We talked about Minnesota. We talked about Los Angeles. We talked about Cincy. We talked about Byron Jones with Miami. I think that was kind of like very telling. Like when he went to Miami, like I said, it wasn't that much time on the clock, but it was very telling that, hey, they could trust Bateman to go up and get that 50-50 ball. And, I kind of wish he was used a little bit more when it was coming to Green Bay. I thought for sure, like, hey, he's going to get the targets he needs against Green Bay. And it just didn't happen. But our guys hit like some more attributes about him. Like I said, we could use him in trips, put him on the backside of X whenever we got the bunch going, because people are going to be concentrating on Mandrews. And if he's the X there on the backside, when they had that bunch formation, he's going to eat because it's one-on-one matchups. It's going to be pretty solid. And then you want to see him just getting a lot of action from the slot. He's very good from the slot with the RPO. He actually uses his body to get in a position, makes it happen. Oh, we got some comments about Flacco. Hang on, let me get to these just a second. All right, so I think we may trade down with a QB-needy team like New Orleans and get another 3rd or 4th round pick. Weren't there a lot of questions this year, especially in the Senior Bowl or this entire week, and maybe the entire offseason about quarterbacks? This is not a very strong draft class, and I don't think anybody's going to move out of position to get a quarterback. I think right now, especially with, New Orleans, they could, but I think they might work with Eli Book. They also have a backup quarterback there that's getting $20 million a year. So Taysom could be that guy, just probably needs a better QB coach. I can't believe they sit there and say, hey, this dude is just as good as Lamar. Or as far as arm, I'm like, are you serious right now? You saying Taysom can throw just as good as Lamar, and that's why they paid him the money? How'd that work out? Yeah, Saints got some problems. If y'all figure out how to get them out of debt, please call them. Call them. They need all the support they can get because they in trouble. They in a lot of trouble, man. Anyway, Lee says, my problem with Flacco was he was interception happy. Well, my problem with Flacco was this. My guy had a rocket arm, and he would launch it to the speedy wide receivers. He launches to Torrey Smith. Torrey Smith catches this bomb. It's about 60 yards, gets them down to roughly anywhere between the 28 and 37-yard line. And then Flacco would take 3 sacks, and then Justin Tucker would come out there and be the greatest kicker of history to do his thing. And that was just a normal theme. A normal theme for Baltimore is that once Baltimore got within that 25 or 20 or 28 to 37-yard line, they just took sacks. He didn't get rid of the ball. That was my problem. I'm like, Joe, just get rid of sling that thing, man. You slung it to get it down here. Now I need to see some intermediate passing to show me how great you are. And then all of a sudden you see him like doing it with the Jets. I'm like, well, where was this in Baltimore, bro? Come on. Anyway, go Rams. Okay. So I think the Rams win. Like I said, I feel like it is for the guy. If the Rams win, it is not just for Stafford. It is for every guy that couldn't get out of Detroit because Detroit was holding Hall of Famers and wouldn't let them go get that ring. This is for Barry Sanders. This is for Calvin Johnson. And it's also for Stafford. And I feel like I really want the Rams to get this, because I just feel, it also will show that the formula that the Rams have is different. It is a risky one, but maybe it changes the face of the NFL as how they look at draft picks. Maybe they start to look at draft picks the way that the NBA looks at draft picks, like they're not as highly valued, and that you just do a whole bunch of trades to build your roster, trading those draft picks to somebody else who wants to collect them and all that. But the Rams don't have a draft pick until 2024. They haven't had not a first round draft pick until 2024. They haven't had a first round draft pick since 2016 when Jared Goff was drafted. And you see how that went. They just, after seeing that, they don't believe in the draft process. And there are some gems in the draft. We've seen it. You see the talent in the draft, but they just don't want to develop them. They want them to be ready for a win right now. Now, of course, if they don't win, they lose a couple of key chess pieces, such as Von Miller and Odell Beckham. But if they win it, it shows, hey, this formula may work. And I think getting to the championship still feels like, hey, that formula does work. It's not one that's going to be sustainable for years after year. You're not building a dynasty. You're building a super team to go get a ship. And I mean, you can have different perspectives about that all the time. Here we go. Clint says, will number 6 come back as a weak side back where he plays better, or keep pushing him into the middle linebacker role, or look to add someone to run that strong side? Honestly, I hope Malik Harrison develops into the middle linebacker, or Bonds come back and does his thing still. But I believe if you can have just somebody just a little bit faster with the smarts of Malik Harrison, you should be fine. I still think you keep Queen in the wheel because that's where he flourishes. He doesn't have to have that much responsibility on his hands, and he can just shoot gaps and run blitz and do all types of craziness and see that flashy flair that we're used to seeing out of him. When he got to sit back and think, it's like me with the Louisiana math. It takes a while, man. It takes a while. And we miss tackles and all that stuff. So anyway, let's go for it. So Big Red says, I can't wait to see Bateman fully healthy and hopefully working well with Lamar. He's going to be a very good wide receiver. Thank you, Big Red. I'm telling you, you just got to trust. And I'm saying Bateman going to be on my wall. I don't know if y'all saw the shirt here. It's a little bit ragged. It's been through the washer. But, yeah, he said in a press conference that he'll be everything that Lamar needs. I built this shirt, and the green kind of came off of it, but good because I can actually use it on a green screen in the future. But I built that shirt because I built it in a training camp last year. And I was like, hey, I like this guy. And I was very pumped up. That's why I did the YouTube video comparisons and looking at him versus, other top wide receivers that got drafted. I'm excited about him. I mean, I was kind of upset that he missed 5 games, but he did play the other 12. And he did okay. Considering when he was targeted, he did what he needed to do. Now, like I said, they need to target him more. They need to stop this whole favoritism, spread the ball a little bit. But the dude's solid. Big Red said this is a very weak QB draft class this year. That's what I said. I'd be surprised to see more than 2 go in the first round. Somebody will reach for a QB. Oh, they're all reaching. If anybody drafts a QB this year in the first round, they're reaching. But they need a guy. But there's going to be guys out there that are available as well. So Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be a free agent. There are a few people that are going to be free agents right now that can help in the organization. It's going to be a couple of backups. It's going to be opportunity to trade for Huntley. We don't know exactly what's going to happen once March comes, but I'm excited. Extremely excited. Excuse me. Aaron Donald is on a Super Bowl team. Yeah. So they're in the Super Bowl. He's on a Super Bowl team. Yeah. I'm with it. All right. They did mention moving Malik Harrison outside linebacker. Hopefully not, though, because he can be our run-stopping linebacker with enough speed to cover. I agree. I think Malik don't belong. I don't think he belongs on the outside. I know we talked about this, I think, last time. Maybe he does okay out there, but I believe that if he stays in the middle, this is one of those guys who will punch running backs in the mouth. He is a heavy hitter. He is meant to be on the inside. Can he cover sideline to sideline? No. But he's a linebacker. Y'all got to stop having these high expectations. Not everybody's going to be a Fred Warner. But if I need a guy to hit a running back in the mouth, I don't want nobody else on the team to hit that guy in the mouth more than I want Malik Harrison. Of course, there's the Joker. The Joker would be a good hit in the mouth type of guy. But if I'm talking thumper, I want Malik. If I'm talking pass coverage and covering, tight ends and stuff like that, somebody call Jimmy and tell him, like, hey, man, you got an extra year in you? Because I don't want my Mike linebacker covering Travis Kelce. I just don't trust it. Those guys are too fast. They got a little bit too much skill for Malik to be covering. Let's see. Yeah. So Lisa says, good luck, Mike McDonald. You'll do fine. I think so as well. He's a young buck. He's 34 years old. I say young. He's like 4 years younger than me. But, he's going to have a fresh mentality. I think that's just the way that this league is changing. Like I said, there's so many changes that are going to be coming down. And you just got to trust in these younger guys because they are able to, if you looked at the tape on, on the bottom of Ravens website, they show some old coaching videos. And you can tell when players are not motivated and they don't really care what the message is. I mean, you can remember from the back end of the Billick years, everybody was like, hey, the message is old, it's stale, we're not listening to it, whatever. And that's kind of why he had to go. But when it came to McDonald, these guys listened because it was very specific feedback. He gave them praise, but he also gave them constructive criticism to help make them better, bringing them all together. And, the ones who want to listen, you can see it because the active listening language is right there in front of you. They're sitting here, their intent is looking at this guy, paying attention, being respectful the whole time. The people that are disrespectful and don't care to hear the message, you probably see them over there messing around with their shoes, doing a stretch, probably tossing a couple balls around or whatever. Basically, a little high school or a little Pee-wee League type stuff because they don't respect the person. They respect McDonald. And I think they will show that respect this year, and they're going to see their talents just elevate because of the team that he motivates around them, a team of coaches and players, them all working together. Remember, I told you, it's not just one man, not just one person. It is the team concept. If you have that, you're going to get wins. When you don't have that and people start getting selfish, they turn into Urban Meyer and they say, hey, those are a whole bunch of losers. I'm a winner. You get fired. That's how people get fired. When you don't have the leader eat last mentality, when you don't take care of your people, they ain't going to take care of you. It goes as far back as Kings. I don't know if y'all remember Troy and Agamemnon and all that good stuff. It is that way when it comes to coaching. You use the entire team, use everything you got at your disposal to be successful. If you don't, then that's when you fail. And you fail, and hopefully, you still, even when you do fail, you recognize you failed as a team, not as an individual, or not on one individual. Anyway, Adit says one guy that has really raised his stock is Penn State linebacker Jesse Lakita. He's described as a defensive chess piece, linebacker, defensive. Okay. He's like Makari on defense, in the vein of Michael Parsons type of player. Micah's pretty good. He's pretty good. Cowboys got some really good picks over there. So hopefully, if Baltimore can see something like that, maybe you think he's going like second round, because I didn't hear anything about first. But of course, I had to go check the draft boards and see what's out there. Did he play in the Senior Bowl? I guess come back to me on that one. Clint, that's good. Seen anyone coming out that can play similar to Ed Reed, true center field and free safety? I think both me and Cam Rue, we agree on Kyle Hamilton. Like, this dude is just all over the field, ball hawking type safety. He's got speed, he's got height, he's got everything you're looking for when it comes to that ball hawking type safety. I'll go look at some more tape on him just for the fun of it, because he's just primetime TV. I'd love to see what he can do for the Baltimore Ravens. Hopefully he's on the clock when we get there. Let's see. D3. Good. What's happening, man? So, yeah, Jesse Lakita at edge was impressive from what I've seen. There's another Penn State guy. We bring that in. That Ozzie Newsome probably sitting here like, what y'all doing, man? You know my formula. I like my Alabama guys. So y'all bringing in Penn State over here. You got OA, and then you want to bring this guy. I can see him having a problem with that. But you know what? That ain't his job no more. So look, if we bring him in, we bring him in. Let's go. All right. Are you going to the draft this year? Honestly, I don't know where the draft is going to be. I'm a military man, so maybe I could talk to my wife, upper management, and then go talk to the military and see if we can get there. That would be cool to go to. The only reason I went the last time is because I was a professional military educational instructor, and they came through on the base and they gave out free tickets. So I thought that was like pretty cool to see, go and see Lamar Jackson get drafted in person. And, honestly, I got to see Cowboys fans crying in person as well, because they actually wanted Calvin Ridley pretty bad. And they picked up Van Der Esch, which was a pretty good pick. But at the same time, they were all just thinking wide receiver because Dez Bryant had just freshly left the building. And they get on the clock. And we already had some upsets that night because nobody expected Baker Mayfield to go first. They thought Sam Darnold was going to be that dude for Cleveland. And so all of a sudden, Baker goes from the 15 projected to down to the first, and it was crazy already. But Dallas gets on the clock, and everybody's thinking, really, you're just chanting wild as all get out. How about them Cowboys? They going loud. And the second Van Der Esch comes off the clock, or his name pops up on the board, they're booing. They are booing. They were already booing Goodell every time he got on the stage. It was like loud, crazy boos. But they booed the pick, and people were hugging each other, crying up in the daggone stadium, man. I was like, wow, they really that upset? They really wanted their wide receiver. They want their replacement, but they got over it. Cowboys look good this year. I got to give them that. Shout out to my stepdad. And then of course all the kids. Oh yeah, it's all my father-in-laws. All right, so I got like 3. So stepdads and stuff. So all stepdad, real dad, wife's real dad, whatever. Yeah, good times. But yeah, they all Cowboys fans. It's pretty funny because the kids like to give them a little crap every here and there because I got a house full of mix of all types of stuff. We got Patriots / Bucks fan, Brady fan upstairs, and wife. I know I'm sleeping with the enemy. Feels wrong. But I'm gonna keep doing it. But and then there's the Chiefs fan down here, Cameron, the one y'all saw. My daughter's a Ravens fan. She's 6 or she's 5, and yeah, she's a huge Ravens fan. She big trust, and she even does some of the Kodak Bop dances. I don't know if y'all seen. Actually, that's on my Facebook. A few people got my Facebooks and stuff, so you'll be able to see some of those dances that she does or she did before. And then who else? Oh, my daughter Lila is a Patriots fan or just a Tom Brady fan in general. I think she's following in her mother's footsteps. And then her dad, so she's my stepdaughter. Her dad is a Chargers fan and his wife is a Steelers fan. It's like football family is basically what we are here. And we all close, so that's pretty cool. All right, Lisa says it's teamwork. Yeah, teamwork make the dream work, man. Y'all got to recognize this. And I think the more that you recognize that it is a full-on team, and I think these owners, if they have patience and recognize it is a team concept, some of the best coaches in the league, the longer tenure ones, recognize the importance of the team. Like Mike Tomlin recognized the importance of having a good wide receiver coach. He recognized the importance of, hey, I got to, be a players type coach and recognize the importance of these players and empower them. That's how he got the W's. Bill Belichick ran his organization a little bit differently, but he still trusted within the team, and he kept bringing chess pieces back into his organization because he knew what each one of them brought to the table. Josh McDaniels did not want to go out of New England because he knew that system was great. He was hoping to take over it because he knew what type of core they had there and what type of control he would have over that team, but still recognizing it is a team concept. All right, let's see. Action, James Shin. What's going on, man? I want Charles Cross or Trevor Penning. I'm going to write these names down because I want to do some more research, and I got time tonight because ain't nobody home. This is good. So you said Charles Cross and Trevor Penning. I've been doing a lot of tape study today just with the Baltimore Ravens games and seeing a lot of heartbreak. And I was trying not to watch it all because I didn't want to be all tore up about how many games we lost after that Chargers games or the Minnesota game too. It's just craziness. Let's see. Big Reg, I'm looking for Brandon Joseph in next year's draft. Sorry, got to write that one down too. And take a look at him. He's a better ball hawk than Kyle Hamilton. Woo! Okay. Better ball hawk. Let me see. Big Reg said. Big Reg. Maybe on drug. Yeah, he said he's a better ball hawk than Brandon Hamilton. All right. He's coming out next year, I believe. Okay. So how did Mrs. feel about Tom Brady retiring? So she just want to throw the rings in my face all the time because what y'all saw was it close to 9 referees retiring as well. We found it out today. Go look at my Instagram. I say, oh, Brady's retiring, and his friends are too. Go look at the tenure of those referees. 20 to 25 years is what you see the range is. Who'd they protect that entire time? Big Ben, Tom Brady. You saw it. We all saw it. And now that they're retiring, there's fresh blood in there. Maybe they have a little bit more integrity, and hopefully these refs will get these calls right, and they don't just start protecting the premier players of the league. Start protecting the backups as well. This is a game that is, hey, it's not for long, and it's for that for a reason. And these refs ain't doing their job, and they're protecting, these other players, and all of a sudden they're getting all these penalties. It's going to end up putting the game in flag football. So hopefully these old school refs bounce out, the new blood come in, and this becomes a fun game. Or continues to be a fun game. Let's see. Adit says, Lakita impressed scouts at the Senior Bowl where he had 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 QB hit. Let's go. I would go Lakita first round and Trevor Penning for round 2. So when it comes to the Senior Bowl, I'm very high on the Senior Bowl, because of the fact that they are getting in there and are going against guys and teaming up with players that they have not teamed up before. So it does, usually it takes chemistry, it takes patience, it takes good coaching in order to be able to perform next to players that you have never performed next to before. If you come out there and you're doing well in the Senior Bowl, your name should shoot up the draft boards. It really should. If you got the right PR person and y'all talking to the right folks behind the scenes, those names should shoot up the scene. It should shoot up the draft board very quickly. Now, I do miss my combine, though. I'll be honest with you. I miss my combine because it was all about the measurables. I love the record setting, and nobody was lying about a stopwatch. Because last year, everybody claimed they ran 4.3, and then it got to the field, and you're like, you don't run on 4.3. Like, everybody was claiming that they were breaking records. Oh, yeah, Rashod Bateman's running 4.38. This person's running this, that, and yeah. Be real. Be real with yourselves, players. Like, because when it comes to the field, you're going to see the on-the-field speed. And you're going to see certain players got it and certain players don't. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, Rashod got some speed. But I don't think it's 4.3 speed. I mean, you can see a huge difference between him and Tyreek, him and John Ross. That's speed. John Ross got that lightning speed. Tyreek got that blazing speed until he pulls a hammy in a Pro Bowl or something. I couldn't believe Michael Parsons won that race. That was crazy. Anyway, back to this whole Tom Brady retiring stuff. You know what? I tried to harass her a bit. Me and my buddy, we took turns. She's just very witty. She's smarter than us, and but she's kind of bitter about it. She's hoping that enough people hag on him or harass him on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff that he'll come out of retirement just to prove a point. I'm hoping that does not happen, but let's just keep this guy retired. So when will the raffle be? So the raffle will be on Wednesday. Like I said, once you send that email saying that you are a notification gang, show me that proof. I need a screenshot showing me that you are a notification gang. And don't just click it and click off. Come on, man. Yeah, click the notification bell because it just lets you know when it's going down. And I don't post like crazy. I'm not going to fill your daggone text messages and all that. But you want this money? Y'all go ahead and jump up on that noti gang. And I will put your email in the raffle and we'll go ahead and hook it up. Let me see if I got it on the screen already. Be right back. Fundraising raffle. Yes, okay, cool. Okay, I'll show you exactly what it looks like. We're going to do a screen share just for a second. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, yeah. All right, so here we go. So once I get all your names, it's going to go into a raffle and be like, oh, well, it's going to be Lisa or be Reg. And then I'll just click it, spin the wheel, and then we'll be able to see who the winner is. Of course, it's not going to just be Lisa and be Reg. And be Reg, you won that one, but you ain't getting nothing right now. All right, so we are done doing the screen sharing. Hopefully, y'all were able to see that. But yes, I'm hoping that we're able to do that. I think we're going to hook that up as the first thing. Also, of course, once y'all pop in here, remind me because I'll be able to pull it up easy. And I'll have it all set up before it goes. But I appreciate y'all coming through. We've been rocking with it for about a minute and 13 seconds. We got over the 1,000 subscribers. I got the hours. We are almost in monetization mode. So it's going to be cool. I'm really, really thankful for each of you coming through and spending some time with me because I know sometimes Camru and I, we go long, extremely long. And y'all stick there and y'all rock with us. So thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am just grateful to do this and thankful that I'm able to actually shut down my website now. So I have a website, Couch Rider Report. I was going to continue to post articles on that, but I wanted to see how this turned out. So I took a year off. I took a year off of writing articles and stuff on the couchriderreport.net to come over to YouTube just to see how this will work out. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's not as much work. I still write the article basically by doing all the research here on the paper, but I share that article with you with my content here, and just the interaction is a lot more fun. Let's see. A great discussion. Thanks for all the work. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for coming through. Make sure y'all tell some friends, tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell your sister if you need her, and just make sure y'all continue to show love. The Twitter spaces, sometimes it gets a little dangerous out there, but if y'all continue to show respect and love within those and on all social media when it comes to Raven stuff, we can continue to make Ravens Nation a lot better than what it currently is right now. Is the Ravens flock sometimes gets a little out of hand on doesn't matter what type of media it is, but y'all come here. Yeah, I don't know if you know. I'm pretty sure you know Ian Graven because he got like 50,000 subscribers. But we just try to show that respect and try to show that love, and we try to keep it clean. So if anything, I am a big part of Team Keep It Clean, same as my guy Ian Graven. And like I said, if y'all are subscribed to me and you ain't subscribed to them, and when I say them, I'm talking about Ian Graven and Lunch Break Hot Take. My two favorite shows. Well, actually, I got three shows. All 22. So he does all Baltimore Ravens stuff, breaks it down, shows you the all 22 film, and it really gets it down to the X's and O's. Then there's Ian Graven, who is just he's up to date with everything on Twitter. If you see it on Twitter, boom, he's got a video out within an instant, giving you his perspective and opinion on it. It's pretty awesome. And then, of course, there's Lunch Break Hot Take. And they get down every Wednesday at about 6:15 Central Time, and they will talk about some issues. And they really attack and they get after it. Those guys are pretty cool. Jose and Brodney, they are stepping their game up big time, and also they are on their road to 1,000. So, like I said, if you're here, help them get to 1,000 as well. We got a pretty cool flock on YouTube. I appreciate those guys. I appreciate you. But this is the home of Original Sports Perspective, from our couch to yours. This is your host, the Couch Rider Raven, Jermaine Lockett. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. I appreciate y'all. Take care. Peace out. Happy Sunday.